Hey everybody, welcome back to Moving Matt. We do vlogs, travel, and some camera stuff. And today I'm going to be doing my review of the Canon RF 15 to 35. So I've been using this lens for right about 7 or 8 months now. This has been my workhorse of a lens, and kind of spoiler alert, I absolutely love it. But I'll go through some of the details, and that way you can kind of make a decision on whether this lens is worth it for you. A couple of the things that I'll nitpick off the bat, just holding it in my hand. I do not like that it extends out for it to zoom, or actually it rather extends out for it to get wider. I would rather it have an internal zoom, but it does not, and that does make it susceptible to sand and dust and things of that nature. Now this is supposed to be weather sealed, but anytime it opens up like that, I worry about it. I did take it to the beach not too long ago, and I can hear that in the focusing ring that I do hear some sand sound. I don't think you can pick it up on camera, but there is a slight scraping sound, so it makes me know that there's some sand in here, which I don't like. Fortunately for me, and maybe a little cheap, I hardly ever manually focus with the Canon Eos R, so I don't really have a problem with it. Now, I do think this is going to be your best bet at a wide angle lens for the Canon Eos R or the Canon Eos R5 and R6. Now this does have in-body image stabilization, which is great as well, especially considering that this lens is basically a vlogger's dream, and that's kind of what I do a lot with it. And I do a lot of travel videos and photography, so I like to take those wide pictures and kind of get the entire landscape in there, and that's something that wide angle lenses are perfect for. I do like that it's 15 to 35, and the reason I like it to go up to the 35 is because even though the 50 millimeter and the 85 millimeter are usually considered more like portrait lenses and more flattering to the face, but actually the 35 and more like the 28 in that range is considered a lot more accurate to your eyes and kind of gives you the impression of what your eyes will see. So having that range in there as well really kind of gets me everything that I need. But that's enough of me harping about it right here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some of the pictures that I've taken with it, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of a vlogging test, because I think that that's something that a lot of people will be using this lens for. I know it's what I use this lens for primarily. So here we go. Now this is a picture that I took at the full 15. Now I didn't use any lens calibration in this particular picture, but none of the lines really bother me. But as you'll see in the next couple of pictures, sometimes you need to do lens calibration in Lightroom, and it's really just a click away. The automatic settings work pretty great. Now here's a picture of the Millennium Falcon from Galaxy's Edge in Disney. So this is with the lens calibration off, and then now you'll see it on, and I'll turn it off again. And here it is back on. See, one click in Lightroom. No, this is with a little bit of editing magic. I know it's a little cheap to replace skies, and some people don't like that, but hey, I think it's all art and it's all fun, so this is what I like to do. This picture is again from Disney. I believe this is the Chinese theater. I did the lens calibration and none of the lines bother me, but I guess you can be the judge of that. Now up until this point, everything has been shot at 15, but here it is as a portrait lens at the 35. I feel the 35 focal length gives you a very real world look. This is my grandmother. She is 96, and like I said, I would not usually use this as a portrait lens, but I think it turned out pretty nice here. But now let's move on to the vlogging test. So here is the vlogging test for this lens. Now this is a wide open vlog. Obviously, I think a lot of times if you're buying a wide angle lens to vlog on, you're gonna want it to be as wide as it could possibly be. Now I have noticed in the past that with this lens and my filter that you do get some vignetting around the edges. So really quick, I'm gonna take off this filter. I may have to crank up the shutter speed just slightly, so it might get a little wonky, but we'll be able to see if there's any vignetting without the filter on. I'm pretty sure it's not. So I'm cranking the shutter speed up to 200th of a second. So I know it's gonna be terrible because I shoot at 24 frames per second, but that's the way I could get the exposure. Does it look really weird with the shutter speed off? Do you see any vignetting going on here, or does it look fairly normal now that I have the lens filter off? One other thing that I'm going to do is, because I usually use the digital stabilization here on the EOS R, but I'm going to turn off the digital stabilization and just use the lens stabilization. That way you can see it all the way at 15, because right now there's a very slight crop. So let me switch that over really fast and we will see if it adds much. I'm just going to try to keep the camera in the same exact position. That way you can just see the difference, if there's any difference off to the sides. So as you can probably see, it is quite a bit wider. I think the digital stabilization crops in about 10%, so it could have been closer to like 16 and a half, and now this is the full 15. So you can see it is quite a bit wider. But if you're going to be using this for vlogging, which in this case is the vlogging test, you're going to want some form of stabilization on, and digital stabilization plus the lens is usually your best bet. But I've been vlogging with this lens for a long time, so I really know my impressions of this lens when it comes to vlogging already. I just wanted to come out here and perform this test for you, but I'll take you back to the studio now. I'll give you my final review of this lens. So there you go. That's some of the results that I've gotten out of this lens. But if you've seen a lot of my videos in the past, most of the time I'm using this lens. So you've seen probably a lot of results of this lens. Now it is a little bit more expensive. It's $2,200 lens, which when I first heard that, I thought was absolutely insane. Who would pay that much for a lens? But the more I started to think about it and realized how many different lenses that this would replace and how many different lenses that I would have to get in order to get the same results as this, it just started to make more and more sense out of convenience, and also the fact that I'm going to be getting the best image quality within that focal length on the RF system. So who is this lens for? This lens is for anybody that is doing real estate type photography. Now a lot of people would like something even a little bit wider, but in the RF system, this is about all you got right now. This is also for anybody who is a landscape photographer that is very serious about what they're doing and want to get that very wide angle. Other people this is for is more like myself, and that is the vloggers. This is a great lens for them. It's been a great lens for me. And unless you already have the EF 16-35 that you can use with the adapter, I would say that this is going to be an excellent choice for you if you're planning on doing any of the things I was just talking about. So I hope this has given you a little bit of a better idea on whether this is something that you're wanting to purchase for yourself. Now I did link this below for your convenience. At the time of this video, it is not an affiliate link, but if anything like that changes, I will always let you know in the description. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And until next time, peace.